Journey to the West in Vernacular Chapter 20. The Lord of Jindudong collects the green eggs after crossing the river. The old turtle asked Tang Monk to go to the west to see Tathagata Buddha and ask him when he would become a human. Tang Monk agreed wholeheartedly, said goodbye to the old turtle, and continued to walk towards the west. One day, they walked into a steep mountain and vaguely saw many houses on the mountain. After walking for a while, Tang Monk became hungry and asked Wukong to find some food. Wukong jumped into the air and saw masses of black energy in the mountain. He returned to the ground and drew a circle on the ground with a golden cudgel. He asked Master, Bajie, Sha Monk and Baima to sit in the circle, saying that in this way the monsters could not, it hurts them. Tang Sang and the others sat in the circle waiting for a long time and became impatient. Bajie said dissatisfiedly, Master, we might as well go west along the road. Senior brother can fly through the clouds and mist, and he will catch up with us. Tang Monk thought it made sense, so he asked Sha Monk to pick up his luggage and keep walking forward. In front of those balconies, Tang Sang and Sha Sang were sitting and resting outside the wall. Seeing that the door was unlocked, Bajie curiously walked into the hall and found that there was no one inside. He walked east and west until he came upstairs. He saw a yellow silk curtain hanging in a room and 3 brocade vests on the table. He put them in his arms and went downstairs happily. Tang Sang was very unhappy when he saw Bajie taking other people's things casually. Bajie said eloquently, there is no owner of these clothes. The weather is cold, so they can keep us warm. After that, Sha Monk put them on. Unexpectedly, the vest suddenly turned into a rope, binding them tightly. It turns out that this pavilion was transformed by a monster. The little demons captured Tang Monk and the 3 of them in a cave, and wanted to eat Tang Monk's immortal meat. Bajie shouted loudly, my senior brother is the Monkey King who caused havoc in the Heavenly Palace 500 years ago. He will not spare anyone who dares to eat us. When the monster heard this, he was really frightened and asked people to catch Tang Monk and the others. Don't eat it until after you take care of Sun Wukong. When Wukong Huanzha returned to the original place, he couldn't find anyone. He guessed that they must have walked out of the circle and been captured by monsters. He called the local mountain gods and land gods, and upon questioning he found out that the one who had captured the master was the king of the One-Horned Sea from Jinxi Cave in Jinxi Mountain. So Wukong came to the Golden Cave and cursed the goblin for being blind and unable to recognize Mount Tai, and asked him to release his master and junior brother as soon as possible. The monster bravely came out of the cave to fight. The monsters can't defeat Wukong, so let the little monsters fight together. Wukong jumped to the top of the mountain and threw the golden cudgel into the air, turning it into a giant stick and hitting the monsters. The little monster was so frightened that he shouted, the pillar holding up the sky has fallen down, and ran for his life. When the goblin saw it, he took out a hoop and threw it into the air, and took away the golden hoop. The golden cudgel was taken away by the monster. Wukong had no weapon, so he had to go to the Heavenly Palace and ask the Jade Emperor to find out the origin of the monster. The Jade Emperor ordered Han Zhenjin to accompany Wukong to search for all the gods in the sky, including none. So Wukong asked Li Tianwing, Najia, and the 2 Thunder Lords Deng Hua and Zhang Fan to go down to Earth to capture the monsters, and the Jade Emperor agreed. Arriving at the top of Jinshan Mountain, King Li Tian asked Najia to take the vanguard. The monster jumped out of the hole with a gun and stabbed Najia. Najia wielded the demon-slaying sword and turned into 3 heads and 6 arms. The monster also turned into 3 heads and 6 arms. Najia cast another spell, throwing out the demon-slaying sword, demon-slaying knife, demon-binding rope, and hot wheel. He said change, and suddenly the sky was full of weapons, attacking the monsters. The monster took out the golden ring Jawar again and took away all the weapons in the sky. Najia, Deng Hua and Zhang Fan quickly turned around and ran away. Wukong and Li Tianwing decided to ask Lord Huadexing to burn the golden circle Jawar with fire. Wukong entered the Nanshanmen on a cloud and came to Tunghua Palace. After hearing Wukong's explanation of his purpose, Lord Hu Xing immediately went with him. Lord Huadexing and Wukong came to Jinshan Mountain. Li Tianwing asked Hu Xingjun to hide behind the rocks, and then he came to the cave door and challenged the enemy. When the monster came out, Li Tianwing raised his magic sword and slashed at the monster. Together, not long after, the monster couldn't defeat King Li Tian and took out the golden circle Jawar. King Li Tian ran away as soon as he saw it. Hu Xingjun took the opportunity to release the sky fire. In an instant, flames burst out from all directions, and the Jinshan mountain turned into a sea of fire, trapping the monster in the middle. The monster threw the golden ring jawar towards the fire without haste, and only heard a crash, and those fire dragons, horses, and knives, the rocket, as well as Huodek Xingjin's firearms, were all caught in the golden ring, leaving only Huodek Xingjin standing pitifully in the air. Wukong invited Shui Di Xingjin's subordinate Shui Bo from the Yellow River from Wuhao Palace. The Yellow River Shui Bo filled up all the Yellow River water in jade bottles and poured it towards the golden cave. The monsters retreated into the cave and blocked the stone door with golden circles. The water of the Yellow River flowed out backwards, and immediately the mountains and plains were covered with water. Jinshan Mountain was like a small island in the sea. Seeing that the flood had no effect on the monsters, Wukong quickly asked Uncle Shui to take back the water. When the monster saw that Wukong had no weapons, he proposed to compete with Wukong in a fistfight. So the two of them started fighting in front of the cave. You punched me and I kicked you. Naja and other god generals wanted to take back their weapons, so they came to help Wukong. Wukong took the opportunity to pluck out a few Velis hairs, bit them into pieces and sprayed them into the air, turning into dozens of little monkeys and surrounding the monster. The monster panicked and hurriedly threw out the golden ring jawar and took away all the little monkeys. The gods thought that the golden circle zodiac was too powerful, and unanimously recommended Sun Wukong to sneak into the cave and steal the golden circle zodiac. Wukong turned into a fly and got into the hole through the crack of the door. When he saw the monster celebrating the victory with the little monsters, he flew around looking for the golden circle, jawar. Suddenly he found that the weapons that the monster had trapped were all placed in the back hole. He felt very sad. Happy, he quickly flew over, grabbed his golden cudgel, showed his original shape, and beat him all the way out. Wukong fought from the back hole to the front hole, and then from the front hole to the outside. The monster chased him out of the cave and fought with Wukong in front of the mountain until the sky was dark and the sun and the moon lost all light. After all, the monster is not as powerful as Wukong. He gradually loses his physical strength and escapes back to the cave. Wukong told the general about the situation in the cave and said that he would go into the cave again to steal the golden circle, jawar. When Wukong slipped into the cave again, the monster was already asleep. Wukong saw that the golden circlet was tightly wrapped around the monster's left arm. It was hard to get rid of it, so he turned into a bed bug and bit the monster several times where the circlet was. The monster felt hurt and itchy, but he refused to take off the golden ring. Instead, he put the ring up, turned over and fell asleep again. Wukong had no choice but to sneak into the back cave, reveal his true form, and prepare to steal the weapons of the generals. He first released the little monkeys trapped by the monsters and let them hold all the weapons, while he untied the fire dragon and fire horse and set a fire in the back hole. Immediately, thick smoke billowed and the cave became a furnace. The monster was awakened and was shocked to see this scene. He hurriedly took off the golden ring and trapped the fire away. After counting the little monster, only 1/3 was left, and all the weapons he had taken were gone. He concluded that it was Sun Wukong who did it. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth and vowed to take revenge on Sun Wukong. Wukong returned to the top of the mountain and returned the weapons to the immortals. It was already daybreak, and Naja came up with a plan. Now that the monster is defeated, we can catch him by working together. The generals nodded in agreement and rushed to the cave together to discuss the battle. The monster immediately picked up the big gun, jumped out of the door, and stabbed Wukong. Naja threw out all his weapons. Lord Hu Xing released fire dragons and horses. Lei Gong fired several thunders from the sky. Immediately, weapons from the sky fell like raindrops. The flames on the ground were 3 or 4 feet high, and there were streaks of lightning in the sky. The monster didn't panic, and threw out the golden ring, taking away all the weapons, including those in Wukong and others' hands. The generals were empty-handed again, regretting that they should not have been so reckless. Wukong had no choice but to go to the west to ask Tathagata Buddha to help find out the origin of the monster. Wukong told Tathagata Buddha about the matter. Tathagata ordered the 18 arhats to take 18 grains of golden sand and go with Wukong to catch the monsters. Before leaving, he whispered a few words to the 2 arhats, subduing the dragon and subduing the tiger. Wukong led the arhats to Jinshan Mountain. Everyone agreed that Wukong should still be used to lure the monsters. Wukong led the monster to the south hillside. The arhats immediately sprinkled the golden sand, and the yellow sand immediately covered the sky and trapped the monster. Unexpectedly, the monster threw the circle out again, and with a cry, all 18 golden cinnabar grains disappeared. The gods were stunned when they saw it. The two arhats subduing the dragon and subduing the tiger said that before leaving, Tathagata told them to ask Taisheng Laojin to help them find out the origin of the monster. Wukong rode a somersault cloud to Lahenshan and asked Taisheng Laojin where the monster came from. Taisheng Laojin remained silent, so Wukong had no choice but to break into Tashida Palace and search everywhere. Suddenly he found a boy dozing next to the cattle pen, but the green cow was missing, so he called Taisheng Laojin. The old man was shocked when he saw it, and said, "Did this beast descend to earth and become a monster?" He quickly asked the boy to count the treasures in the palace. He found that the diamond ring was missing, so he concluded that the monster was his green bull. Taisheng Laojin took the banana fan to Jinshan Mountain and asked Wukong to lure the monster out. The monster was led to the foot of the mountain by Wukong. Suddenly he heard someone shouting from the mountain, "Qingniu, come back with me quickly." When the monster saw that his master had arrived, he turned around in fright and wanted to run away. Taisheng Laojin recited a spell and fanned the monster. The monster hurriedly threw the golden circle jawar out. Taisheng Laojin caught it and fanned it again. The monster immediately felt sore all over and showed its original shape. It turned out to be a green cow. Taisheng Laojin pierced the nose of the cow with a gold ring and held it in his hand. Taisheng Laojin rode back to Lahenshan on a green ox. Wukong and the generals broke into the golden cave, beat the little demons to death, got back their weapons, and rescued Tang Seng, Bajie and Sha Seng. The heavenly generals bid farewell to Tang Monk and returned to heaven to pay their respects. Tang Seng and his disciples packed their luggage and horses and walked slowly along the mountain road to the west. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.